Africa, a continent of over a billion people, 54 nations, and countless cultures. But beneath this diversity lies a common story: the fight for independence, the dream of unity, and the ongoing struggle to define its future in a world dominated by superpowers. Today we're breaking down the African Union, the legacy of this independent struggle, how modern Africa is shaping its own regional identity, and the big strategic choice over many African nations face between China and the United States. The African Union didn't just appear out of anywhere. Its roots go back to 1963, when the Organization of African Unity was founded in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, one of the biggest cultural and ethnic centers in Africa. Leaders like Ghana's Kwame Nkrumah and Ethiopia's Haile Selassie pushed for unity, political, economic, and cultural sovereignty for the entire continent. Back then, Africa was a patchwork of new nations freshly freed from colonial rule. The OAU aimed to protect the sovereignty, and this would go unchecked. But the OAU had one big flaw. It avoided interfering with the internal affairs of member states. That meant that dictators and coups often went unchecked. In 2002, the African Union replaced the OAU with a stronger mission to promote democracy, human rights, and greater sovereignty for the entirety of the continent. Today, regionalism in Africa is more than just an ideal. It's a strategy. Africa's future is tied to how well it integrates economically as well as politically. The African Continental Free Trade Area, or AFTA, is one of the biggest steps yet. Signed by 54 countries, it aims to create a single market for goods and services. Think of it like the EU for Africa. But there are also sub-regional blocs like ECOWAS in West Africa and the EAC in East Africa. These groups push for easier cross-border trade, shared infrastructure, and even common currencies in some situations. But it's not just about the governments. Africa's youth and its entrepreneurs, they all play a role in shaping Pan-African identity that cuts across borders. Still, regionalism faces hurdles like bureaucracy and corruption. And sometimes it's just a lack of political will, but momentum is growing. Before Africa can fully leverage global partnerships, it has to confront its problems at home. Corruption still bleeds billions from public funds. Many elections are shaky at best, rigged at worst. Youth employment is at an all-time high. In some places, insecurity from extremist groups or ethnic conflicts hold entire regions back. Climate change is hitting hard. Crops are failing, water is drying up, and millions are being displaced. And while some countries are pushing forward, other countries are stuck in cycles of crisis and recovery. But here's what often gets missed. Change is happening from the ground up. Activists, journalists, demanding more accountability. More Africans are voting, organizing, and speaking out than ever before. The future doesn't depend on avoiding these challenges. It depends on facing them head on and not waiting for foreign aid or outside validation to do it. Here's the modern dilemma that Africa faces as it continues to grow. So does global interest, especially from China and the United States. China has been building roads, railways, ports, and massive infrastructure under its Belt and Road Initiative. It's Africa's biggest trading partner and a major lender. To many African governments, China offers quick cash, no lectures on democracy, and concrete results. But there's a catch. Some of that debt is piling up, and critics warn about strategic dependency and a lack of transparency between countries. The US takes a different approach. More emphasis on governance, democracy, and private investment. Washington offers aid and access to American markets, but it's often slower, more bureaucratic, and tied up in political conditions. So what's the right conditions? It's not about picking side. It's about leverage. The real power lies in Africa playing both sides of this relationship, settling its own terms, and making choices that benefit the African people first. The African Union is far from perfect, but it represents a vision for a united, independent, self-governing Africa. From the roots of colonization to the crossroads of global power in the early 90s, Africa is writing its own history now. This isn't about choosing between Beijing and Washington. It's about Africa choosing itself, choosing to build stronger institutions, invest in itself, and most importantly, invest in its own youth. It's about breaking the cycles of dependency and not repeating them in new forms. The future of Africa doesn't belong in the past. It belongs in this generation right now. The tech-savvy, globally connected, politically aware, and they're deeply proud of where they came from. And the African Union, for all its flaws, is a platform that the future can take shape on. One decision at a time, one summit, one deal at a time. Africa's greatest resource isn't gold, oil, or its earth minerals. It's the people. And when united by purpose, there's no limit to what this continent can do. Thank you all for watching. If this gave you a new perspective, hit the like button, subscribe, and drop a comment. What do you think Africa's greatest opportunity is now? Thank you. Have a good one, guys.